Good morning. My name is Granny, and this is the channel for Granny and Grumpy's Greenhouse. This morning, we're going to make some whole wheat banana bread. And I've ground my own wheat. So as you can see here, looks a little bit different than the kind that you buy in the store. I grinded up my whole wheat flour from red winter hard wheat berries, and I grind it up in this machine called a Nutrimill, and there's a placement that goes in here that catches the flour as it's being ground up. This way, if you wait and grind it up as you need it, you don't lose a lot of the nutritional value in it. It's not getting rank because it's been sitting on a shelf forever and ever and ever. And it tastes so much better. So this morning, let's get started with our banana nut bread. We want to take, I'll go slow with the ingredients so you can write them down. You want to take 3 bananas per each loaf that you're going to make. This happens to be 2 loaves, so we've got 6 bananas that we have taken the skins off of and broken half. We're going to take that with our masher, our potato masher, and we're going to mash up these bananas, not pulverize them into nothing but liquid, but we're going to make them so that they're pretty chopped up. So we'll do this really quick, or as quick as I can do it. You know, things for a 65-year-old is never quick anymore. Everything is hard to do. So, especially if you have rheumatoid arthritis. So because of my rheumatoid arthritis, I don't have the chance to eat much sweets, or shouldn't eat much sweets. I have to tell the truth. I'm not Abraham Lincoln, but I don't want to tell a lie. I have had some sugar recently. Did it bother me? Yes, it did bother me. But every once in a while, you just got to have something that's got sugar in it. So I try not to, no more than I have to, because it does make me feel worse. I started taking hydroxychloroquine a few months ago for my rheumatoid arthritis, and I got to tell you, that was some of the best medicine I've ever taken for arthritis. It has helped tremendously. It's knocked off the worst of the pain so that I can go on living. Because before, all I wanted to do was stay in the bed because everything just hurt so bad. Okay, so I think we've got this mashed up pretty good. I'm going to stick this in the sink. Got some water already sitting so that it can get undone. Okay, so here's our mashed up bananas. So remember, for every loaf you're going to make, you want 3 very ripe bananas. Now, these bananas have sat on my table for not quite a whole week. They are organic because bananas are one of the #1 foods, that and celery, that they pesticide to death. And so if you don't get organic, you're going to be eating all that poison. And you really, really don't want to do that because it causes worse things than just rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so we want this. And then it says after you do that, because I don't eat sugar, we're going to use stevia. Now, there's a product called Pyruri at Walmart that is stevia. And so, normally, I would have a cup or a fourth of a, let's see, it was a half of a cup. Yeah, a half of a cup per loaf. No, it says 1 cup, sorry. Well, you know, 65, what can you expect? Okay, so anyhow, we would normally have 1 cup of sugar. So in that case, we want to have a lot less than that of this stevia, because stevia is magnitudinally sweeter than sugar. And I will tell you, you won't like the flavor of it if it's extremely sweet. I know a lot of people think that the sweeter the better, but with sugar, it tastes different. And so we want it to taste as close to sugar as we can. So because our bananas, we had extra large bananas, We are only going to put, we should have had 2 cups of sugar. We are only going to put 1/2 of a cup of stevia. So we're going to mix that in. Sprinkle it all over the bananas. Then it says we want an egg. Now, you know, I'm not real crazy about using regular eggs either. I buy only organic. And I wish they were free-ranging too. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I'm actually going to pick up some at my sister-in-law's house this week. She has free-ranging chickens that are fed organically. And but I had to buy these. And so it says 1 egg per loaf, but I like 2 eggs. So we're going, because we are going to be using whole wheat flour. We need all the help that we can get to raise this so it's not going to be really saggy baggy. And so we're going to put 4 eggs in this since we're making 2 loaves. I'm real weird about eggshells. I can't stand eggshells in my food. So I don't try to open them with one hand because every time I do, I get a shell. So I can't stand that. Yuck. Old people have lots and lots of stories they like to tell. So when I was growing up, around 10 years old, I reckon, we lived in Statesville, North Carolina, my parents and I, brothers. And at that point in time, there had been it was at Easter time. And, excuse me, I gotta wash these hands from the eggs. And yes, I had already washed my hands previous. Always wash your hands before you make anything. So, anyway, we, at 10 years old, it was Easter time, there was a child who had crawled up on the table at their house. They saw the brightly colored eggs that their parents had made, and they commenced to chawing down on them with the shells on it. Well, to say the least, unfortunately, the child died and got choked to death on the shells as it was trying to eat. Well, nobody told me the whole story. So all I heard was a child ate Easter eggs and died. So that did it for me. From there on, I couldn't stand to have any kind of shells in my food. So I'm real particular about eggs. Okay, so we've got the 4 eggs in here. We've got the stevia in here. We've got the mashed up bananas in here. So now we're going to place in here. We've got baking soda, and it says on here that we need to have 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So that means we need 2 of each, 2 teaspoons of each to pour into our mixture. And so I've already measured everything out previously. Dump we will. I am classified as a dump cook. A lot of times I don't always follow directions. I'm not the best cook in the world either. So, of course, my kids are still living, so it must not have been terribly bad or they would have died at a young age. Okay, so then it says that we want to have 1/4 cup of oil or melted margarine. I don't believe in eating margarine, period. Margarine is terrible for the human body. We won't go into why right now, maybe later, some other time. So instead, I've got some cold pressed extra virgin olive oil in here. Now, I don't buy the kind that's been refined because I don't mind the taste. And truthfully, I've never tasted it in here anyway. Neither has anybody. I've had nobody to complain. So we're going to have 1/2 cup since we're making 2 loaves. Okay. Now we're going to take our little mixer here. And we're going to start mixing all that up, chomping down on your eggs so that your eggs get automatically started to blend. I love to cook, so while we're mixing this up, and we've already got it mixed up, it says in this that we are going to have, I'm sorry, my arms aren't long enough. It says that we're going to bake at 325 degrees for 1 hour and cool for 15 minutes. So, we'll turn the oven on. Be right back. This oven is an oven, we've only lived here for 2 years now. And I haven't baked a lot of things, mostly sweet potatoes. I did bake some bread last week for the first time in 3 years. And I found that the oven does run just a hair bit hot. So I do have to compensate for that. So 325 is what I'm going to bake it at. But I am going to keep a very watchful eye on this because I don't like burnt bread. Last week when I made my whole wheat bread, wasn't what you classify as burned, but I like it a little bit soft on the top, and so I always either put salted butter, organic salted butter over the top, or water. You can take water and pat water all over the crust of the top of regular whole wheat loaf bread. But this is not that. This is a dessert, and so you cannot be pouring water on this. You cannot be putting butter over the top of it either, because all it does is just make it yucky. So now we've got these ingredients here. The next thing we're going to pour in is going to be our flour. So it says 1.5 cups of flour. Now they're talking about white flour and they're saying sifted. But we're not making that type of bread. We are going to make whole wheat banana nut bread. And I've never had anybody to ever even know that it had whole wheat in it, nor did they complain about it. So here we go. We're going to put 3 cups in because we're doubling our recipe because we're baking 2 loaves, not 1. So we're going to dump this in. And of course, we have not sifted it. So I'm not going to do that to whole wheat flour. Not unless you just don't like germ in it. Obviously, when I'm talking about germ, I'm not talking about the, like germs, bacteria or anything, viruses or anything like that. We're talking about, it's a part of the husk and a part of the wheat itself, wheat germ. I actually have to buy wheat germ in a bottle and add it extra when I'm making granola. And we're going to make granola one day too. Now I'm going to tell you, my husband loves my granola. He has asked me, we do a little bit of food prepping, saving. And so he has asked me to make like 5-gallon bucketfuls of this stuff. And I told him, I said, even if you put it in an airtight bag, it's not going to taste as good as it does when you make it. You're better off to save the ingredients and put those in airtight bags and then mix it together and bake it. To say the least, I haven't done what he asked yet. So, all right, we've got 2 pans here. I don't believe in using metal pans for any kind of bread. In fact, I don't usually make cakes in them. Everything that I've got for baking in at this point, other than a springform pan for cheesecake type items, that's metal, but everything else I've got is glass. So we've got a bread pan. I have already sprayed it with extra virgin olive oil, like a pan pal spray, but I buy Walmart's brand because it's a little bit cheaper. I've also used it for years, so I really, really like the product itself. So we've got these right here. So now we are going to pour in our mixture. We're going to try to half it in 2. Now, I'm not real good at halving things always, so we'll see. I'd like to have both loaves equal, but you know what? Nobody's ever complained before. So they just gobble it down. I do like sweets. I'm more of a savory person, so I like things, even though I do like ice cream and all that kind of stuff, just like anybody does. A lot of times, I'll just go back and eat something. If I made a savory dish of some sort, I'll go back and eat that instead, because I really, really like savory stuff. Okay, well, believe it or not, I think we've actually got it so that it is half and half. That's amazing. Amazing in and of itself. It's looks like it's pretty much half. That's a good thing. Alright, so it says for 1 hour. Now I've already set, and I didn't put the nuts into the mixture. What I'm going to do is sprinkle nuts on top. There's a lot of people in this world that don't like nuts. And they don't want their nuts. I have one child out of 5 that I could not hardly get her to eat a nut at all. I don't know why. She's never explained. But if you're going to have nuts, because I'm a nut eater and I love them, and especially in banana bread. But to be kind to others, and that is what part of life is about, is being considerate of other people. I'm going to put it on the top instead of mixing it into the mixture, because this way, if somebody wants some of the bread and they don't want the nuts, they can just shave the top off or pick them off, either one. And that way, they still get to eat some of this good banana bread. So I'm going to make one with and one without walnuts on it. Now, I'm a pecan eater. I love pecans. In fact, I got a recipe I'll show you one day about how my mother used to make pecans. But today, we're not using pecans. Usually, I would use pecans, but the recipe did call for walnuts. So we're going to try to oblige the recipe, use the walnuts on it this time. And I'm going to leave one without nuts, because that way I've got some with and some without. And I may share it with somebody who I know does not like the nuts in it. So anyway, let's put this in our oven and we'll get to baking it for an hour. So I have my handy dandy little Accurite timer. I have the timer set also on the stove. So we'll put it at 1 hour. Unfortunately, you got to go through 60 minutes to get this thing up to an hour. So sorry, y'all have to hear the little beeping noise. Okay, and put it on start. There we go. So folks, I'll be right back with you in an hour. We'll see what this looks like. And I'm not going to taste it because I don't want to burn my tongue off, number one. But I don't prefer to eat my banana nut bread hot. I like it after it's been in the refrigerator and it's cold. So anyway, see you in a little while. Well, the buzzer went off. It's time to take it out of the oven. Looks awful good to me. Looks like it's turned out the way it's supposed to. And it rose a lot. Hallelujah for that. Let's turn this over now and see what it looks like on this part. Woo-wee! Looks awful good. Here's the one that has nuts on top, as you can see. And it's turned out really good. Can't wait for them to cool down so that I can bag them up, put them in the fridge, and let them cool down to my satisfaction so that I can have a piece. Anyhow, y'all have a blessed day today. Thank you so much for coming into my kitchen today and watching me make banana nut bread. Thanks.